Well, hello everyone. I'm Carla, otherwise known as Kiki, and welcome to Kiki's Kitchen. I did want you to know that through the help of my very, very special 10-year-old niece, we are now going to post all of my recipes and videos and all of those things on Facebook, and then we will provide a link that will take it to YouTube. Apparently, if I'm on more people are on YouTube than are on Facebook, so I really do hope you follow me over there. And if you have any problems, just put it in the comment section below, and I've got a 10-year-old little girl that can help you out, I promise you. So anyway, today what we're going to do is we're making some blueberry muffins. They are absolutely delicious. They're blueberry cream cheese muffins, and they're very easy to make. So let's get started. We're going to start with, and as usual, I'm doubling the recipe. You know, I have a lot of freezer space, and I double it. I put it in the freezer. I'm having 8 people for dinner tonight, and they will have blueberry muffins for dessert because we want a little something light because our meal is going to be, you know, a little on the heavy side. So, so I'm making them for that, and then I'll put the rest in the freezer. They freeze great. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with a cup of vegetable oil, which is doubled. It calls for half cup. I will, in the comment section, give you the regular recipe, which will make 12 to 14, depending upon how big your muffins are. What I'm making here is going to be 24 to 26. So I'm going to start with a cup of oil, plain old canola, vegetable oil, sunflower, whatever you have, white oil. And if you'll notice, I have it in a liquid measuring cup. Just makes a difference. So I'm going to put that in the bowl of my mixer. There we go. And to that, I'm going to add 2 cups of white sugar. So let's see if I can't get that on camera. I do some switching around, don't I? Okay, here we go. And as I always tell you, with sugar, it's a lot different than with flour. With sugar, it's fine to scoop in here and scoop it out because it's not going to pack on you. But just make sure, let me see. I'm trying to get my whole face, and then I'm trying to get what I'm doing in here. Cameraman would be great. But make sure you take the back of your knife and go back and forth and level it off. Because if you'll see, look how much I'm going to level off. I mean, that can make a difference in a recipe. So just level it off at the back of your spoon. And in with the oil that goes. And it's calling for 1 cup, so I'm going to use 2, of course, because I'm doubling. So, leveled off, and 2. And then it's calling for 4 ounces of softened cream cheese at room temperature. So there's 8 ounces, and in that goes. And where did my little knife go? There it is. I took this out actually this morning while I was having coffee, so it's nice and soft. So let me get here it is. Got a little good stuff on here. We'll get it all. There we go. All right, so we're going to get that mixing up. Kind of let that go in the background for just a minute. And then we're going to add 1 egg or 2 because I'm doubling. And you know my drill, right? Always crack your egg in something other than where you're putting it, other than the bowl, just in case you get a shell or a bad egg. You know I always tell you about those bad eggs. So I got 2 here. Oops, hold on 1 second. Forgot I had something in the sink and I'm throwing eggs at it. Okay. So we're going to get this to creaming. Move this down here so you can see with me. I know I'm driving you crazy with this sound, but okay. Let's get this going. I don't want to wear the oil, you know what I'm saying? there. want to cream them together. And that looks like it. So I'm going to add my eggs now, one at a time. Of course, I always add them one at a time, right? And just so that they get incorporated in. So one goes in, and as soon as that egg yolk goes in, it gets blended in there. Come on, egg yolk, you can do it. There we go. So see, it kind of ribbons in there. As soon as that kind of gets mixed in there just a little bit, then I'll go ahead and put my other one in. The next thing is 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, so of course I'm doing 2. Let's get this in there a little bit better. I need to put this on my shopping list. And then what is actually optional in this recipe is lemon zest, but lemon zest and blueberries. I mean, they kind of like go together like, you know, cream and sugar. So I'm gonna drop this down a little bit, and it says a teaspoon, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. It's the zest of 1 lemon. And when you zest a lemon, I do want to show you this. This is my zester. There are many different kinds. But do you see how I'm just going down to the, yeah, let me back you up now. Drives me crazy. Okay, so it's just, I just don't go down too deep into your lemon. I know you can't see this. And I'm going to pull it up here and show you, because I just keep turning it and turning it. And I really don't want to get any of the white pithy part, because if you go too deep, it just gets a little bitter on you. So you just want to take the top zest off, just like that. So I'm going to just keep spinning it around, top and bottom. And the other thing too is on the back of every zester is where all the good stuff lives, so don't forget to look on the back. So this is kind of what it looks like when it's all zested. Oh, there's a little spot. So see on the back? Make sure you get that cleaned off, because that's got some good zest in it. So if you gather all that up, the recipe says a teaspoon. Well, look there, that's about a teaspoon. Is 1 lemon. All right, so we got that in there. Good stuff in there. Keep going. While that's doing that, let's measure our dry ingredients. And as I always tell you, you want to do your dry ingredients in a separate bowl, and because we add those separately always. So it's calling for 1.5 cups of flour, and I always tell you when you're measuring flour, let's get this down here. When you're measuring flour, to heap it up over the top, use a gentle hand putting it in. That looks good. I wanted to scream over the top of it, sorry. Use a gentle hand putting it in, and tap it on the side a couple of times. We're not trying to pack it, we just want to settle it in there in any of the empty spaces. We're not trying to pack it. And then back of your knife, and oops, oh my gosh, I've lost my mind, in your separate bowl. So it's calling for 1.5 cups, so I'm going to need 3. So it's heaped up, little tap, 2, and 3. And there we have our flour. The next thing it's calling for is 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda powder. And it's important to remember the difference between those two things. So I have my dry measure teaspoon. So it's calling for 1.5 cups, so that's 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. And the last thing is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So that's roughly 1/2 teaspoon of salt or a smidge. So, you know, there you go. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I always forget to turn the ringer off. So then the last thing when we put in there was salt. So all we have in here now is flour, baking powder, and salt. And you know I always tell you to take a whisk into your dry ingredients and mix them well. The whisk acts kind of like a sifter, so it'll get any lumps you might have, even in the baking powder. It can have lumps in it. And also, it'll mix everything together so that you don't have your baking powder right on top for it to poof out in case you hit the mixer. Okay, so it's also now calling for 1/2 cup of buttermilk. So of course I've got a cup, but it's also telling us that we want to add it alternately. So we're going to drop this, about 1/2 of this flour mixture, and maybe 3 of those, and we're going to add maybe 1/2 of my buttermilk, and let's mix that in. I think it just makes for a better texture because it's mixing. It just helps it get incorporated better than putting all of the flour in at one time, so it doesn't get real lumpy. Let's pull this down just a little bit, put a little bit more in. A little bit more buttermilk. Mix it all up. The other thing I'm going to tell you, so the last thing we're going to add, of course, is going to be our blueberries. Let me take them out of here. I had washed them off and drained them, and kind of tried to dry them off a little bit, not much. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take some flour and I'm going to toss them in a little bit of flour, and I'll tell you why. Because these blueberries, like most fruit, will sink to the bottom of my cupcake because of the weight of them. But if you sprinkle a little bit of flour on there, so I don't know, what did I use? 2 tablespoons of flour, and then just lightly toss them in that flour so that they're nice, so that they all get covered, just lightly and just gently, because you know they're so fragile. So that they're all covered like this, they will distribute throughout your muffin. Yay! Good little tip. I'm thinking of you, Michelle. Okay, so that looks nice and smooth, and I think we can go ahead and add everything else we got. So here's the rest of the flour. And the rest of the buttermilk. Just get that all mixed in. I'm going to let that mix, and then I'm going to go get the muffin pans. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my cupcake pan, and I know you can't really see it, but it's 24 24 cupcakes, regular size cupcakes. I do this also with a jumbo cupcake pan, sometimes when I'm making the big ones, but this one's just 24 cupcakes. So these are my flour-coated blueberries, and I saved those to last, of course. And I'm going to dump them in there, and I'm going to do this by hand. I certainly don't want to do this with the mixer because they're so delicate. And I just want to fold them around and around until they're all incorporated down into the batter. I wish I had a different kitchen so I could show you in a different way, but I don't, so we have to do the best we can. I do love my little kitchen, though, I have to say. It's just not conducive for filming, but that's okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do to fill these cupcakes, and what I find is the easiest way to do it, is to use an ice cream scoop. When you use an ice cream scoop, you usually hit your target, number one. And number two, then you've got the same amount in every cupcake, and they're going to bake uniformly. They're going to bake in the oven at 375 for, let's see, 375 for about 18 minutes. So this one, I fear, is a little bit big. And this one might be just right. So let's just see. So I'm going to dip it in here and put it in there. And you know what? That's just a little bit shy, I think. So you know I'm going to need something between these two, right? Maybe this one's not quite full, and that's the one I need. I think that's the one I need. Because I think those, you'd think this would be fairly easy to determine. How about if I do a heaping scoop? And that's the answer. It's a heaping scoop. Okay, so as you can see, and I don't know if you can or not, hopefully you can, using one of these things truly does make it easier. So, in it goes. And I'm going to fill these, and I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me fill them all. So I'll be right back. Okay, all done. Look how beautiful. And then actually the recipe tells you to also take some additional blueberries and put them on the top and kind of press them into the batter. So that's what we've done. I'm going to put them in a 375-degree oven for 18 minutes, and then I'll test them, and I'll be back. Okay, well, we're back, and let me see if I can flip this around. And here they are, fresh out of the oven. And they are so beautiful. So my toothpick, you just put it in, and you can kind of feel, you know, there's no wiggle to it or whatever. And it comes out perfectly clean. So I'm going to let them cool for just about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to put them over there on that rack. And then I'm going to actually probably frost them with a little cream cheese. A little cream cheese frosting. Just a little drizzle, just a little tiny drizzle. So I will show you the still picture when we're done. And the still picture will be on my Facebook page, Kiki's Kitchen, and it will have a link to the YouTube channel, which will have this video. So I hope you make them. They are truly delicious, light, fluffy, and yummy. So have a great day. Bye.